Have you been? And Jimmy said, and as everybody knows Jimmy, Jimmy said he honestly answered, my fiber kicked in. She has never been the same. Now, the ladies wrote, said Johnny brought in a stack of paperwork one afternoon, and in this stack was a purchase order, and the person to contact was Rudy, R-U-D-Y, but Johnny spelled the name Rootie, R-O-O-T-I-E. He said, well, the man did not say Rudy, he said Rootie. So Ruth says, well, was he funny? And Johnny said, well, no, he was an Indian or an Iranian or a Arabian. And that was the only way he could remember his name. You need to ask Donnie and Dan what's so special about Susan D's restaurant. You need to ask them about that.
Oh, thanks, Alan.
Wait a second, Alan.
David.
Y'all be sure to ask Alan also.
I want to tell you that if you ever see any ice cream in the freezer in Johnny's office, that you need to be careful. That could be hazardous to your health. Not the ice cream, but Kathy's wrath if you take her ice cream. If that's her ice cream in there, you take it, you're going to be in trouble. Now, Ruth is head of the, kind of head of the office in there, keeps things flowing. Ruth is so quiet and just takes everything in all the time. No, never really nothing from Ruth. But we heard a story about Ruth. Said she bought a new Sears washing machine. Started doing some laundry in it. And when she was putting the laundry in, she thought she saw a mouse in there. Well, she promptly slammed that lid shut on the washing machine and ran outside screaming for Herb and said that there is a mouse in my new washing machine. Well, Herb went in there and was pretty sure there wasn't, and he checked it out. He ran it and made sure, looked for a mouse. He couldn't find anything. So Ruth, she put her clothes in to wash, got them washing, and she put it then in the dryer and got the clothes dry. Said she went in to start folding them, dumped them out on the bed. Well, right in the middle of the pile of clothes, she noticed a clean, fluffy, perfectly formed dead mouse in the bed. Needless to say, Ruth was out of the bedroom. Herb was wrong about the mouse, and the clothes were re-washed and dried. The Monday after the Oilers and Redskins game, if y'all remember that, when the guy missed the field goal to win the game, beat the undefeated Redskins, Mr. Heinemann was quite upset about that with the performance of the field goal kicker. So he came in and he had decided he was going to exhibit how goal kickers should kick the football. And he got a used Federal Express box. Facing the Federal Express box on the carpet, he assumed the kicking position. He kicked the FedEx box in 3 different positions, explaining, of course, each position of the foot, the stance, the angle, and how it should line up to the field goal. On the 4th kick, he placed the box on the floor, kicked it, and it landed upon Ruth's head. And he had set up the right angle using Ruth's head as the field goal. And seems that we need to ask Gary Takis, Gary Gross, and me too, if they've had any dreams about Drillex output shaft since they've been at A&A so long. I know I have. Also seems Charles and Darwin came to work one day dressed like identical twins. They must have called each other and planned it tonight. And then finally, before our little video segment, David Murphy and Kathy and Ruth are just very happy that the front office is no longer pregnant. A very hectic year, and they're glad that the new staff is on.
We know David ain't ready.
We can't do TVs.
Oh, yes.
Listen in. I want y'all to see this.
And it's again.
Oh, but we're going to have to cut some tape. Yeah, here's one right here. On the other side. I think that's it. Yeah, there's not any pen. I said there was. I'm going to let you use it.
Need a ball pen?
I don't know, it's not taking the Okay, there you go. Now.
Yeah, you'll be very good.
I just told Sharon tonight, if there's anything I love, it's crystal. Well, no problem. We're doing good. Is that gorgeous? Oh, that is beautiful. Look at that. Is that fine? Oh, it's gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. That is the prettiest thing I ever saw.
We're just going to pass that around.
Oh, that is fine. That has been a good lay it in here and then
Pass it around.
We'll just walk by and look at it. Put it down, Fred. That is very unique. I don't believe I've ever saw a waterfall Christmas clock before. I've seen a lot of waterfall Christmas.
I never have. That is
Yeah, waterfall
absolutely
clock in it. I
wonderful.
want you to observe that when you look at it. That's beautiful. Thank you all.
That is so beautiful. It is so absolutely.
For the first 50.
First
Yeah,
50.
first 50. Okay, who's got question number 1?
We got 2 pages full of questions to test y'all's memory. First one is, where did y'all meet?
Who are you asking?
Met on blind date.
Okay. No, this one really is where.
This is
Yeah,
where?
Where, like what
Oh.
town, what place?
What was the name of
The
the place?
Pirates Cave in Fort Worth, Texas.
Oh,
That's it. Downstairs.
Yeah.
Sounds like a real deluxe.
Fort Worth, Texas.
Pirates Cave, Fort Worth, Texas.
How old were you when you began dating?
Dating?
You began dating.
You talking to my wife?
Well, we'll take one out first.
Both of you. How old were both of you?
She must have done a baby because I married her when she was 16.
I married when I was 16.
No, tell the truth. I know the truth.
14.
14. That's it.
How old were you, Miss Heinemann?
I was probably about 16.
Probably about.
Now, what probably? Yeah, about 15. Well, would you say 14?
Okay.
Well, Miss Hyman,
This is cute.
just so I can get the truth, when did Fred ask you out for your first date?
After that initial blind date, well, actually about 3 or 4 days later.
He's a little pushy, wasn't he?
After you came upstairs from the pirate's clothes.
Yeah, yes.
Right.
About 3 or 4 days
He
later.
must have fell in love right off the bat then.
I'd say so.
Well, now, where did you go on your first date?
Red?
You know,
Where'd you say?
I actually don't.
Where is that?
Fred said Forest Park.
That's all I remember.
But I'm sure we must have, I absolutely do not remember. I remember where we were when we met. But I do not remember where we went the first time we went out. Do you?
Okay, Fred thinks he does.
I know.
He thinks he does.
I think we went to Forest Park.
He
but I'm
said
not sure.
Forest
They had a little
Park.
train down there. You know, you could ride a little train, see it.
And it might have been, oh, I know what y'all were thinking. No. We might have gone to the park, but in those days it was an amusement park. And we might have been, I'm really not
That
sure.
didn't come until 3 weeks and 3 days later.
See, 3 weeks and 3 days later we got married.
We didn't have to wait long.
So we didn't, we didn't have.
Wasn't no
much
long
time.
dating period.
Pardon?
Wasn't no long dating period.
No, no longer.
Okay, well, listen, y'all are jumping ahead of me.
Just answer the question.
Okay, it's just a
Who
question.
did you double date with?
Speedy, Robbins, and Juanita. Speedy was his friend, not mine. Juanita was mine.
Did you say he's a pretty good guy?
Speedy, Robbins, and Juanita. I can't think of her last name. Pine, Juanita Pine.
Juanita Powell, that's who it was. She got it.
Okay, well, how long did you date before Fred asked you to marry him? Or did you ask Fred to marry you?
3 weeks. 3 weeks.
And he asked you?
Uh-huh. Those were the old days.
Good old days. I'm afraid you're gonna get away.
Where were you when Fred proposed?
My sister's living room.
Which is where?
Wait, yeah,
Fort Worth.
We want details.
With her dog.
Dog name was Buster. Dog name was Buster. See, I remember the dog.
House in Fort Worth.
Well, I guess, how did you answer?
Obviously she said no.
Obviously, yes.
I thought you never asked.
Yeah, what kept
What took you so long?
Is somebody else?
Did you go on a honeymoon, and if so, where?
No. That was easy one, Pat. No. But
Oh, that's big.
listen. Okay.
Where did you live when you first got married?
Pardon?
Where did you live when you first got married?
See, this'll help answer the honeymoon.
Okay, right. Where did we live? I lived at 1809 Virginia Place for several weeks, and Fred lived at
310 Lovell Street.
But
in
tell
Fort Worth, Texas.
because we
It
were
was a boarding house.
secretly married for a while.
We got married on a Monday, and I didn't get to see her till Wednesday.
Because I was in business school, and I was determined I was going to finish business school before I got married. But we were already married, so I just decided we better keep it a secret until I did. But I didn't.
What is your favorite gift you ever received from Fred?
Oh, my. Wait a minute. My favorite gift from Fred. I fixed to say probably 40th wedding anniversary.
Right on that finger right there. Another Cracker Jack box.
Probably this one.
Fred, what is your favorite gift you ever received from your now?
Did I ever see?
I'll have to come to his defense. We've never been big on gifts because through the years it's been pretty good to keep up with what we had to have, and gifts weren't a big thing with us. It never has been.
Really?
Except these two.
I guess you could say that she gave me a little money along, and I'd save it up and buy her something with it.
She gave you a
She allowed me to have a
She
little
gave
money.
you a lamp.
Well, now, while you're on that, this question isn't in there, but tell some of the stories about how you would, get up and try not to wake Fred up when you're going to work.
Oh, there was a period, now this sounds like I'm a martyr, but there was a period when Fred had high blood pressure, and the doctors told him he couldn't work until they gave him the okay. So we moved from Fort Worth to Kilgore, where I could probably make a better living than I could in Fort Worth, and we could live cheaper. And I went to work at Jack Anderson Engine Company in their office, and we had an apartment, mile and a half, 2 miles from the place, and Fred was supposed to rest. So I got up in the morning, and I was real quiet, and went to work, and I walked and left him the car in case he woke up and wanted to go somewhere. And then he came and picked me up in the afternoon. And he was always on time, no problem. That was, everything worked out fine. But I look back on it now, I don't think I would have done it. I don't think I would have got up and walked to work. But I did.
She didn't tell you why I had high blood pressure. I might have had this too. During World War II, we married on the first day of December. War broke out on the 7th. And soon we were engaged up to here, if you remember right. My brother was the last machinist conscripted out of the Texas Pacific Railway shop. And of course, I immediately, in order to work me as a journeyman machinist, they had to put me up on the evening shift or midnight shift, so I went on the midnight shift. And then as the war progressed, and like I say, my brother was the last one who was conscripted out of the railroad shop, they had crippled our employees down so far till everybody had to work, most of the guys had to work 2 shifts. I was young enough, so I worked 16 hours a day and 7 days a week. Worked the first 3 years during the war and never had a day off. I don't know that I ever missed 1 or 2 days at the most in a 3-year period. Worked 16 hours a day and 7 days a week. And one Christmas, one New Year's, I told my boss I was going to be off. I said, everybody's been off but me. And I said, this is my Christmas. And he said, you can't get off. And I said, I won't be in on time. And I went in drunk. Went in drunk, and the guy punched my card and said, go up to the locker room. And I laid on that bench up there till about 6 o'clock in the morning. And they finally found me up there. I think they had the police after me up there. They didn't know where I was. But that was the reason I had the high blood pressure, and I was off.
He worked himself.
Worked myself. Eating like a horse, no sleep, and working. But a lot of the guys did that during the war. A lot of your fathers did that, I'm sure. But it did take about 3 months. I just settled right back down. Quit eating and got a little rest. A lot of rest, thanks to her. And got back to normal. Been normal ever since. But no rest and a lot of work will kill you. Put a lot of miles on me there for about 3.5 years.
Okay, list 3 funny things that have ever happened to the 2 of you together.
Ooh, boy, a little notice and I could have really... Oh, my.
We can come back to it.
Oh,
Yeah,
let's come back to that, Gary. Let us think on that in a minute.
Where is your favorite place you have ever been together?
Our favorite place that we've ever been together. We've been to a lot of good places.
We have been to some wonderful places.
We're talking about a side bed.
Hey, this thing gonna do X-ray, man.
We have really seen some beautiful places. I think Hawaii is one of my favorites.
Yes, I'd say Hawaii would be maybe number 1 on the list.
What is
It's a beautiful place to relax.
Hawaii?
Oh, there's a lot of them.
Austria.
That's what I was going to say is my second one.
Austria would be another one. Austria's a beautiful country. And Germany has a lot of pretty places. One of the sandiest places I guess we were ever in was in Cairo, Egypt.
And I'll tell you another thing, some of the most beautiful spots we've seen have been right here.
Right in the United States.
This year, in fact, we went on a highway we hadn't traveled before in Colorado. It was one of the most beautiful.
Highway 70, west of Colorado, one of the most beautiful drives you'll ever make. Absolutely. Just beautiful.
Right.
Next question.
Fred, what is the best surprise you ever had for Linnell?
The best surprise
That you've ever had for Linnell?
Well, I was surprised 50 years and about 11 days ago when she said yes when I asked her to marry.
Now,
All right.
for her.
Still score points.
For her.
Oh,
The best
for
surprise
her.
is for
Yeah,
me.
he's working on Christmas.
Surprise, surprise.
What we do?
40 years.
Oh, we moved on it.
I guess a surprise. I guess one of the, that's a surprise on me though. We were getting ready to move one time and we didn't have any money. We didn't have enough money to move on.
That's when we moved from Kilgore down here.
Didn't have enough money to move on, and she surprised me. She had saved about $15 in the rat hole somewhere. That's what we moved down here on. Things were cheap back then. After all that, about 35 years ago. We'll be in May. Oh, it was longer than that.
Longer than that.
That's right. I worked on Carbide 8 years after we moved out here. Before we went to Dennis, we'll be in Dennis May the 10th. Will be 35 years ago. So 35 and 8 is 43. 43 years ago. So $15 43 years ago, you can go all the way across the United States just about.
Yeah.
16.
Thank you. Linnell, what is the best surprise you ever had for Fred? Besides the $15.
Besides that 15. Oh. Oh, golly. there's some of these that really need some thought. He's not a big surpriser. He tends to give too many big hints because he's so excited about what he's going to do for you or give you that he gives you so many hints. By the time it gets there, you kind of know. So surprises are not his big, but he is a surprise. Every day he's a surprise.
Okay, can you list 5 of the best pieces of advice that you can give to get to a 50th anniversary?
You go first.
Yeah.
Hang on, Fred, let me get my pencil.
Well, I think a prerequisite to a long marriage is to be married, a couple to be married to the right people. You gotta be made for each other, really. You really do. And it's a 50-50 street. Only thing is, this girl here has been about 70-30. She's been putting up with me all these years.
I think the number one thing is trust. I think that's the big thing.
Third would be love. I fell in love with her at first sight on that blind date. Took her down Forest Park and she put me in my place, and ever since then, we've been on.
See, that was another part of Forest Park. Okay. One more?
Yeah.
One more.
Golly. Pass that one, let me come back to that one.
My dad said, well, first of all, you gotta live to be about 70 years.
Yeah, that's yes, you gotta live long enough. Live long enough, that's a good one, Sharon, thank you.
What do you plan to do together for the next 50 years?
I would love to say we was gonna do the same thing, but I doubt it. I hope we can even travel some more before we get too old to go.
You will.
So,
Well, I just hope we keep a good health and just have a good, clean life together and just serve out our time, as the old boy says, together, wherever we are, and look after and take care of each other. We've already promised each other that's what we'd do, so long as we could. And then if we ever had to go into a rest home, a nursing home, retirement home, or whatever, we'd go together. Yeah, we'd never out of time there together. That's what her mother and daddy did. That's what my mother and daddy did. So,
Fred, you'll never go to the rest home.
spend our whole life
no
together.
rest home, no rest home, no rest home. As long as we have any money, either of us, the other one won't go in a nursing home. That's the promise. That's our big thing.
They'll run you out of the rest home.
Wouldn't let me stay there.
You buy half of it.
No.
At 30 cents on the dollar.
You'd be
modified, huh?
Fred, he said why the Germans lost the war,
Uh-huh.
they couldn't whisper. They couldn't whisper in the
That's right.
Well, let's come back to the 3 funny things. End on a funny note. I gave you one. Yeah, Bambi, you tell me.
Oh, okay. Our daughter could probably tell you better than we could, but there was one when, I don't know, we'd been married about a year and a half, I guess, and Fred and I and his sister-in-law were driving along, and he did one of these, what we used to call Hollywood stops. I don't know if you call them that anymore. At a stop sign, he just kind of shifted and went on. And the policeman came along and gave him a ticket. And he said, oh, heck with that, and he just threw it out the window. So we rocked along for, I don't know, several weeks. And one morning, Fred was getting ready to go to work, and somebody knocked on the door. And I went to the door and said, this policeman, and he said, I have a warrant for Fred Heinemann's arrest. And I hollered at Fred, and he comes to the door, and I still had on my gown and robe, and he told Fred, said, I'm taking you to jail. Said, I have a warrant because you didn't pay this ticket. And Fred said, well, how much is it? was $6. $6. Fred said, I don't have $6, which he wasn't lying. We didn't have $6.
We didn't have $6.
He said, well, you either got to give me $6 or you going to jail.
I said, oh, they won't put me in jail.
Fred said, they ain't gonna put me in jail. So I said, well, Fred said, can I follow you down there? And he said, sure. So I said, well, I'll just get my robe and I'll go with you. So we followed the policeman to jail, and he gets down there and he told Fred, said, now I'm gonna tell you before you go in there, they're gonna lock you up. Fred
If
said,
you don't give them $6.
he said, hey, they not gonna lock me in there.
She's sitting out the curb with a robe on.
And I do not drive. I do not drive. And I'm sitting out the curb in my gown and robe. And so I sat there and I waited. And I waited and I waited and I waited.
Boy, I'm back here with that tin cup. Hey, come here.
He's breaking on the bars with his tin cup. And I'm sitting out there waiting. And
They didn't know who you were.
he didn't tell them. He forgot to tell them. Anyway, I kept looking at people going by and I thought, what who am I going to ask? So finally this gentleman comes along and I thought, now he's the one. So I let down my window and I said, sir, my husband, and I couldn't get out, I've got on my gown. My husband is down those steps, and he's waiting on me, or he's supposed to come out here and let me know what to do, and I don't know where he is or what he's doing, and would you go tell him that I'm still sitting out here waiting on him? So he goes down there and he delivers the message, and they were kind enough to send me the message back that if I wanted him out, I had to come down there with $6. I didn't have $6. So I get behind the wheel in downtown Fort Worth and drive to my sister's house and borrow $6 and drive back, send it by another good-looking man that's innocent and trustworthy. He carries it down there and Fred came out. Now that was the days when you could trust people.
How in the world did you remember that?
The reason it got to be such a big fine was when the charge came out, Judge, I remember Judge Gilmore because I've been there before a couple of times. They read my name out in there and I wasn't there. And they read it out the second time and I wasn't there, they added $2 to it. And the third time, they added $2 more to it, made it $6, and then they issued the warrant. And that's how they got the third time they issued the warrant. They read your name out twice in the court, and then the third time they come get you.
Does anybody have any burning desires? Anyone have any burning desires? You're just dying to ask Fred Linnell something? Now's a good time.
Well, I might add that approximately 35 of the 50 years we've been married, just been right here at A&A Machine. And back when Emmanuel and I first started the business, started trying to build up the business, that was a 24-hour day and 7-day-a-week job, kind of like David's got over there now. And we landed one big job over at Smith Douglas Fertilizer Company. A fellow by the name of Schmidt, he was a welding salesman. The big three welders, he sent a guy over there named Munson Tiggs to see us. They had a job over there that about 3 or 4 of the biggest machine shops around here, including Hahn and Clay in Houston, about the biggest one in the country down here. Turned this job down. Manuel and I went over and looked at that job, and we devised a method by which we could do that job, and we did that job over there in the plant. Then they gave us another job and another job. When we wound up, we paid all of our property, all that first lot we bought out there, and some used machinery in that little sheet iron building that we built out of wood covered with sheet iron. We paid that all off and wound up with about $5,000 in the bank, clear. And back then, 35 years ago, that was a lot of money. $5,000 was a lot of money. Steve Bowman he was a stalwart. He worked over there just like the rest of us, day and night. As many hours as required. Abden worked over there. I worked over there. I ran the job over there. Manuel ran the machine shop. Manuel slept on a cot at the machine shop, answered the phone, done the work, and that's how we got started. And everybody in Carbide told me, in fact, when I quit over there to go in business, I was still working at Carbide there about year and a half, 2 years, looked like I was about to split my check with Manuel because we wasn't making any money. Anyhow, everybody told me when I decided I was gonna quit. I said, you're making big mistakes that don't ever work. And said, you can't, that guy you're going in business with, you can't trust him. One of the finest human beings I ever know. Charles vouched for that.
Amen.
One of the finest men I ever knew. Manuel's fiance. Absolutely.
Anybody could trust Manuel.
Yep. And just a lot of hard work, perseverance. Today, it'd be hard to do that. It would really be hard to, I feel like it'd be a real chore to go in the machine shop. It'd be a real chore today to go in any kind of business. And we've just been fortunate to have the business that we've got and the way we've, I guess, got repeat businesses by doing good work. And they done a survey one time at Monsanto, right down Chocolate Bio. And I think we were last on the list, and the reason we were last on the list, we were the most expensive machine shop. But our motto was always been, the difficult things we do right, the difficult things you do right away, and the impossible things take just a little bit longer. And but the survey they ran down there, some of the engineers came to our, and field foremen came to our rescue down there. They said, yeah, A&A may be the highest, but said when they do a job, it's right. You don't have to send it back. So actually it costs less to get the first class job done. And I'm proud of what our people do there. I don't have anything to do really with running the business anymore. Charles does that, the front gate, the back gate, with a lot of able assistants that you have out there. I'm proud of each and every one of them.
I've been busy this last week.
Because I've been getting a paycheck every day, every week that they get one, I get one. And I guess that's a nice thing. But again, like I said earlier in the evening, our family's grown and permanent family. I feel like all the employees we have now are permanent employees, and I hope we don't ever have to go backwards again. We went through several downturns. We didn't have to lay off anybody. We were able to carry them. And until about, what year was it we had our first layoff, Charles? 81. About 10 years ago, approximately 10 years ago, a little over 10 years ago. We had our first layoff of permanent employees, and that really hurt. That really hurt. That lay anybody off. But those things happen. If you read the paper list of the news now, some of the big ones, the biggest ones, IBMs and people like that, laying off people by the thousands. Xerox made the headlines today. They lay off a bunch of people. And text in where we've been buying some of the surplus goods that they have over there that we can use. I went in one of the offices over there looking at some office files and stuff. There was a box down on the floor. It had about, I guess, 100 badges in it, and there's all the people's pictures that were employed over there. I guess they gathered up all the badges, and they just, their whole life's work over there. Some of the people have been there 30 years. Their badge laying in a box. It's a dead file now. See, they'll never go back to work. The place shut up. So that's what you don't ever know what's going to happen. I hope A&A is always here. Got some good young people in the organization. Charles is a young man yet. I don't feel like I'm too old sometimes. But anyhow, I hope the longevity there with A&A machine just keep on, to be perpetual. I'd like to know that it was anyhow. I had a hand to get this started. Proud of it. Proud of all of it.
I have a question.
Yes.
How did you come up with the name?
Well, originally, before I got with Manuel, Jim Ludlow and Manuel had a little business going. They were working for Montgomery Ward. They were delivering refrigerators and freezers, washing machines, and servicing them. And then Jim decided he wanted out, and Manuel offered me a chance to get in with it, so I did. And then Manuel had an opportunity to buy the first little engine lathe that's in my office over there, made up in St. Paul, New York, for $125. He came home and told me, said, you can have up to half of that lathe if you want it for $62.50. So I put up $62.50 and he put up $62.50, and we bought that little lathe, hauled it up to his garage, and we tore it down, go through it, rebuilt it, and that was the first machine we had. And then we borrowed $500 from his stepfather and his mother, and we bought a little cracker box welding machine and a little hand drill press, a little hand milling machine, about $500. And that was a complete machine shop. All of our hacksawing was done. We didn't have a power saw. All the hacksaw was done with a muscle just like this in a vise. Didn't make it everywhere with a 3-inch bar or a 3/8 rod. Didn't make it everywhere. We sawed them off with hacksaw.
6250, was that 6,200?
No, that's $62.50.
But where did A and A?
Okay, okay. That's what they originally called their repair service or delivery service.
Always available.
Was A&A. No, we added the always available.
Oh, I'm sorry.
We added the always available later because they pretty well took advantage of that. You know, just 24 hours a day and 7 days a week. Just whenever they called, we was available.
Well,
We made ourselves available.
Manuel said that'll be the first in the phone book.
Yeah. A&A, that's right.
We need to change our name though.
Hey, second that one.
A&A Machine and Fab.
And Fab.
Then we won't get no more calls to know if we got capability to machine ahead on the car.
Excuse me, Jimmy, how many calls do you have to take on that?
Hey.
How many times do people say, do you feel heads?
Me and this guy are here on Saturday.
I'd like to answer
5:30, 6:30 in the afternoon, and it rings
We
off
have
the wall as soon as you leave the phone.
My beeper went off Friday.
I didn't say
And no, my beeper went off Friday.
You going home?
And I went to, I couldn't get a hold of him on the payphone, so I went to the shop and I called him up. And he said, are we gonna be open tomorrow? And I says, no, sir, we're not. And he said, well, my heads are supposed to be ready. I won't say what I said next, please.
Winnie says, Winnie says, Johnny, Sunday she said, Johnny, the phone's for you. I said, who is it? I don't want to talk to nobody. She said, it's all straight. I said, okay.
Kangaroo.
Sunday, yeah, he called up, he said, Johnny, he said, I'm sorry about this. I know it's Monday here and it's Sunday evening there, and I just now thought about it. I said, that's okay, go ahead and go.
Kangaroos each other.
Australia calling.
Yeah, Winnie said, it's on 3, called us, oh, I'll take it.
He calls all night. Oh, I know that, Ralph.
On a lighter side, last summer, when my grandson and his friend and Fred and I were coming back from our trip, we stopped at my brother's and his wife, and Brian had saved a little trick for Fred. We got there and we had hot dogs, and he took Fred's weenie out of his hot dog and put this rubber weenie in there. Well, when he first picked it up, I couldn't. Well, I had to turn because I knew I was going to break up. So I turned the other way, so I missed the main bite. But they tell me it was wonderful.
Well, I snapped down that thing. I blew it back up. What have I got?
It springs back.
Well, it just sprung back on me. I got it going, but it'll come right back at me. Looked exactly like it.
He said, these weenies are tough.
They're cold, too.
They're cold.
Cold and tough, too.
Charles.
You got all that relish on there.
Boy, it was all fixed
Then,
up.
should I tell them what they said they did?
No.
No, I won't tell what they said they did to Brian.
Charles, you remember y'all got me to eat them Mexican tortillas in 1966?
Tamales.
Tamales, whatever it is.
Tamales, Jimmy didn't like them. Those corn husks were tough.
You didn't jail forward.
Hey, no, thank you. Tell me before that.
You've never eaten one, but I have that Georgia deal.
Charles said, what do you mean it's tough? They're soft. I said, mine was tough. Let me see it.
Jimmy, I
Let me go. They was all eating them.
Well, I think that we've had a great time tonight, and I'm just proud that we could be here to enjoy Fred Linnell's 50th anniversary. And this was the A&A staff party tonight, but we were really glad that we could use it this year to celebrate their anniversary. And we are very proud of them and wish them the best from now on. Fred Linnell.
Thank you.
We'll start getting up and moving around a little bit.